This video is brought to you by Mubi, a curated streaming service showing exceptional films from around the globe. Get a whole month free at Mubi.com/Karsten. Disclaimer, if you're wondering why your favorite movie of the year didn't make this list, it could be because I did not get a chance to see it. These are some of those that I think could have made this list had I seen them in time. I like to get these lists out before New Year's because it is fun. When I watch these movies, if they make the list, I'll update the list in the comments or on Letterboxd. Also, some of these don't get a proper release until 2022, but I'm kind of just going off when I'm able to see them at festivals. Okay, thanks. Happy holidays, fellas. Well, here we are. Doesn't it feel like we were just here or something? Despite things feeling kind of not great in the world right now, we can at least say it was a phenomenal year for movies. This is going to be 20 movies because there are so many good movies I just gotta recognize, plus some honorable mentions that I loved but unfortunately did not crack the top 20 list, such as Memoria, Luca, Pig, One Night in Miami, and Roadrunner. Well, is that everything? I guess that's everything. Let's get into it. Coming in at number 20 is The Matrix Resurrections, directed by Lana Wachowski. At number 9 is Cmon Cmon, directed by Mike Mills. Number 18 is Gunda, directed by Viktor Kosakovsky. Number 17 is Vortex, directed by Gaspar Noé. And number 16 is Licorice Pizza, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Yeah, I'm also bummed it didn't make it any higher than this. Coming in at number 15 is The Green Knight, the latest from David Lowery, probably the ideal contemporary fantasy flick that both feels like it scratches that fantasy itch you'd want going into it and leaves you with plenty of surprises. Number 14 is Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve, truly one of the most memorable movie-going experiences I had this year, a spectacle in every sense of the word, and a breathtakingly original new blockbuster. Number 13 is Hit the Road, directed by Panah Panahi, a family road trip movie that gets away with a lot without saying a lot and manages to be really funny and heartfelt in the process. Number 12 is Spencer, directed by Pablo Larraín, one of the best looking movies of the year and one that really knows how to creep its way into your mind, a ridiculously unique character portrait with some nice jazz. And at number 11 is Judas and the Black Messiah, directed by Shaka King. Yes, this is a 2021 movie in my books, and yes, it's one of the best directed and acted films of the year, a movie that does not step off the gas pedal for its entire runtime. Man, if you thought those were great, just wait for these. El Planeta, directed by Emilia Ullman, is the most unique movie I saw this year, and that is saying a lot considering what else is on this list. For feeling insanely modern in how it presents itself, it does feel like I'm watching a French New Wave film just in terms of how many times it experiments and throws ideas at the wall. I'm still not over those transitions. I mean, what the hell? But it's not just throwing things at the wall for the hell of it. The form actually works and is above all hilarious to watch. It's like realism, but make it really fun. Mad God is Phil Tippett's stop-motion passion project that was, 30 years in the making? And yes, it was worth the wait. It honestly feels like a much grosser and more condensed version of, 2001: A Space Odyssey, but never pretentious or like it's trying to be the next 2001. It knows what it is. It is always its own thing. Watching this movie made me feel like I was a kid again, playing with action figures in different parts of my house and acting like they were in a strange space world. You can literally watch the amount of time and passion put into every frame of this movie, and as a result, you get one of the coolest and most immersive experiences of the year. Drive My Car is the latest from Ryusuke Hamaguchi and is an adaptation of a short story written by Murakami. Hard to summarize what exactly this film is about, despite being extremely straightforward, no pun intended, because car. It's basically about a theater director who's grieving and who got in a car accident and now needs a driver to drive him around. And there's a lot more to it than that. This was one of the most moving experiences. Once again, no pun intended, because car. Much of this film was tackling hopelessness and fulfillment, trying to come up with a reason to keep going, and I think now more than ever, it resonated pretty hard with me. Despite being over 3 hours long, I never actually felt the runtime. The film uses every minute so effectively. Even the shots that are literally just a car driving on a road were so moving. Again, because car. It felt like one big, extremely refreshing and honest therapy appointment. Yeah, alright. Annette was not a lot of people's favorite thing this year. Many of you might even argue you hated this movie, to which I say, that is fine. I can totally see why. But to me, Annette is one of the most interesting, captivating, and unapologetically maximalist films I've seen in a very long time. On its own, I just respect the shit out of Leo Carax for shooting for the stars on this and leaving it all on the table, which really makes you wonder why more filmmakers don't do that. Because sure, it may be messy and a bit self-indulgent, but you're treated to a whole lot of fun, even if it feels a little dorky. Because it's not dorky in a stupid way, it's dorky in a cool way, which is kind of how you would describe Tribe Sparks, who were behind this film. Now that's speaking pretty generally. Specifically speaking, I think this film says a lot about the sacrifices and harm that comes with creating art for someone, and that doing it out of love can actually be insensitive, despite being the only way to truly do it. I think it's really beautiful to watch a movie that's telling the story of an artist who falls short due to his artistic devotion, in a movie that in itself falls short from its complete devotion to the artistic vision. I don't think Adam Driver wearing the same outfit as Leo in most of this movie is a coincidence. You can talk about everything wrong with this movie as much as you want, but to me, this is the most unforgettable film of the year, and it's also hilarious. Petite Maman is, as its title suggests, petite. It's a tiny movie about a girl who meets another girl in the woods. I don't want to give too much away because discovering what this film is about is fun. Simple as that. Cmon Cmon has proven herself to be one of my favorite filmmakers, as she truly makes movies like she knows something that we don't. She could shoot a close-up of a person against an empty wall and somehow get 10 times more emotion out of that shot than literally any other director. I don't know how she does it. This movie is ridiculously simple because being a child is simple, and it's a little on the fantasy side for the same reason, and it's also quietly mind-altering for the same reason. Because this to me is a movie about a kid not only learning more about the person closest to her, but about working through this in the lightest, most childish way possible, and I mean that in a good way. It's really light on its feet, it's super precious, but that does not make it any less significant. Sometimes less is more, and this is a perfect example of that. Once again, maybe an unpopular opinion here, but I loved The French Dispatch. You guys know me, I'm a big Wes Anderson fan, and this is an extremely Wes Anderson movie, so you do the math. It looks amazing. The dry, oddball humor makes me laugh. The characters are all super fun. I love the cast. I think this is one of his best worlds that he's built. It feels reminiscent of Jacques Tati's Tatyville that he built for Playtime, an absolute commitment to the bit that you just gotta sit back and admire. Whereas with most Wes Anderson films, you can associate a certain specific color palette with them. This one has so many different colors that you can put onto it. It truly feels like something bigger than a Wes Anderson film. I mean, really, this film is so unapologetically not important and focused entirely on creating a visual feast that also happens to be a lovely tribute to storytelling and has a whole lot of fun in the process. I will watch this any day. The Power of the Dog left me speechless, half because of just how hard it was to come back to real life after this movie, and half because I was still trying to figure it out after the movie. As literally everyone I've talked to about this movie has said, this is one where it all pieces itself together in the end, and then leaves you thinking about it for a hot minute. And I still haven't stopped thinking about The Power of the Dog, despite figuring it out, and that truly speaks to just how great this movie is. I've been trying to figure out why I felt so tense watching this movie, because it's hard to place a finger on what exactly the film is doing to you, but the central theme I walked away with for this movie is protection. Everyone in the film is trying really hard to protect something of theirs, whether it be their power, their loved ones, their sanity, or their lives. And to protect these things requires a sense of predation that is lurking quietly underneath every scene in the film. And that's a storytelling technique I really love and always find a lot of fun in, just killing off something or someone to move up in the world, or in this case, live comfortably. And it's the fragility, attention to detail, amazing performance, and great sense of humor that this film works with that makes it deliciously unsettling. Boy, oh boy, do I love this movie. The Worst Person in the World is a film about a young woman who is basically just trying to get her shit together, told in 12 chapters, a prologue, and an epilogue. It is one of the best representations of the human experience I saw this year, and it has a lot of fun with that. Honestly, I feel like anybody that liked Lady Bird will like this. None of the life-altering, god-awful decisions that she makes in this movie feel life-altering in the moment. Sometimes they don't even feel like the worst decisions, and that's because nothing in this movie is black and white. She chooses the direction that feels the most fulfilling, but maybe not the most logical, and that's what it's about. Not living for the future, not living based on past mistakes, just doing what you need to do in that moment. And to a lot of people, that may make you feel disconnected from the character because, oh my god, why would she make these awful decisions? But for me, I was truly able to live in the moment with her and follow her down these paths with a sense of truth because of how fluid this film is presented. Joachim Trier shoots this film so casually that not only amplifies the feeling of living in the moment, but also brings out the beauty and color in making mistakes. Yes, these are mistakes, and the answer to why we make these mistakes, why we do anything we do, why this film is the way it is, can be summarized in one of my favorite lines in the film I was just trying to process. This is one that will just always come back and hit something close to me, I can already tell, so I'm gonna hold this film close to my heart for the rest of my life. This one gets it. Sean Baker is one of the best filmmakers working today. He really has so much care when it comes to how he tells these stories of the subjects in his films, and it builds a sort of trust where whoever he chooses to make a movie about next, I know he'll do a good job with it. And Red Rocket may just be the best example. It sets out to do a film about an ex-male porn star who is slowly losing everything around him but trying really hard to get all of it back. And you could take a very grounded, serious approach to the subject, or you could do what Baker does here and have a lot of fun with it. But don't get me wrong, still have that weight in the film. Because at the end of the day, Mikey, despite being one of the most charming and entertaining characters to watch thanks to an amazing performance by Simon Rex, he's an awful dude, a gross dude, and the film does a really great job at never forgetting that, but still making him kind of likable. I think a big thing Sean Baker is tackling really well in each film is what Americans want/think America to be, and what America actually is, and what it does to them specifically. And Red Rocket is one of the best examples of this, because the country, from literally every angle you look at it in this film, is built in a way not to necessarily root for Mikey, but make him feel like it's rooting for him. Maybe it's the universe telling him this is his second chance, or maybe it's just an incredibly broken system that is built to tell you this is your second chance. The point is, Mikey is always going to try and get it his way, and I see this film less as a statement for how this is an unbreakable cycle, and more of a statement for how it's a cycle that is, if anything, going to get worse. This has probably my favorite ending of the year. You know, Titane may not be the easiest film to recommend to people, but if there was ever a movie that re-energized why movies are just the best, it's this one. In this video, I've talked about a lot of specific qualities that all these films did really well, like humor, tension, longevity, and Julia Ducournau seems to have taken all of them and made them work under one extremely weird premise. It's unsettling and often unwatchable. It's really silly and self-aware of what it is. It's strangely simple and unpretentious. It's a love story, a really touching love story about a girl that fucks a car. Because yeah, let's not beat around the bush. The movie is insane. I don't think it's a spoiler when I say she has sex with a car, but I think anyone that has watched the movie can agree it is a lot more than that. There's something about the movie that makes it work, that makes decisions like that make sense. Not just the car thing, but everything that ensues after that, and then how she decides to get out of those things, and then how she goes about those things. It's such a consistently engaging and weirdly logical film as far as how it moves. The character not feeling alien to the audience or like some monster can be owed to the real love she's lacking and finds in the movie. She is deep down just like Vincent, who is also one of the best written characters of the year, and for them to find each other in this strange way to transform into what they transform into, it really resonated with me. It's a film that is not holding back at any angle you look at it and offers so much to be rediscovered and analyzed with repeated viewings. The scene of them dancing makes me cry every time I see it. There's something so freeing about watching them in that situation. I love Titane a lot. It's a damn shame I will not be able to tell most people about this movie, but man, I cannot believe the car sex movie made me cry. And well, that's the top 20, but I'm curious, what's your top 20? Drop it in the comments, let me know. And guys, thank you so much for supporting me through this last year. It was a really good one for me, and I could not have done any of it without you. I just know 2022 is gonna be even crazier. You'll probably see my short film then. You're gonna get a lot of cool videos. It's gonna be great. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for deciding to watch these silly videos I make. I really, really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. Go watch all these films and form your own opinion. And one last time, before you head out. Hey guys, I have two things to say. One, I didn't know you could get eczema on your eyelid. And two, I want to thank this week's sponsor, Mubi. Mubi is a curated streaming service, a place to watch beautiful, interesting, and incredible cinema. From iconic directors to emerging auteurs, there's always something new to discover. With Mubi, each and every film is hand-selected by an actual person that knows what they're talking about when it comes to movies. It's like your own film festival, streaming anytime, anywhere. I gotta say, Mubi has been my #1 source this last year in finding not only new, independent films, but also classics that I probably never would have heard of if not for Mubi. If your New Year's resolution is to watch more movies, guess what? Mubi's the place to go. You can try Mubi free for 30 days at mubi.com/Karsten. That's mubi.com/Karsten to start streaming some amazing cinema. Happy New Year, and I'll see you all in the next one.